I wanna try and take in all the highs, embrace them for more than a moment's time. I want you, please don't move when I push you away. I know I contradict myself some days, but will you ride the lows with me?
Welcome to Mental Health News Radio. I am your host, Kristen Sunanta Walker. Our goal is to help discussions about mental health be a regular part of your daily life, no different than discussions about physical health. Mental illness can be a topic of discussion under the umbrella of mental health, along with so many other topics. This show is the original program on mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com. Our network of shows are played in over 180 countries and cover more topics under that umbrella than you can possibly imagine. We were talking about mental health long before it became cool and popular to talk about, and thank goodness it has become so popular. We have incredible guests, advocates, patients, experts, people. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy our intro music, a song named Lows, written by Aubrey Toon. You can find her music at www.aubreytoone.com.
With me, will you ride the lows with me? When I'm down, my vision gets blurry.
Hi everyone, Kristen here. Today's interesting. I'm joined by Jason Iyeke. He's the founder of NeuroJumpstart, a platform helping neurodivergent people build real businesses, not just conversations about it, but this is not really about a business conversation. This is one of those winding roads with someone who's awesome at what they do and who they are. And I got the lucky gift of getting to do an interview with him. I think it's his first on a podcast, so please welcome him. I'm really excited for you to listen to this man and his story, and also you'll be really surprised at how big his following actually is and who's following him. Thanks for joining us. Jason.
Okay.
Welcome to Mental Health News Radio.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank
pleasure.
you. Tell our listeners, just so you know, I've given a little bit of data about you and what you do, but I want to know, how the heck did you get this going? You've built something massive. Talk about that. It's so amazing.
Yeah, sure. So I'll start at the beginning. Well, not the beginning of my life, but
yes, from birth, when you came out the canal. What happened?
Yeah, I'll start 60% of the way through. So it was 2016, literally 10 years ago. I left my job in the corporate world. I was bored. I wasn't stimulated. I used to be an oil and gas engineer, so the oil prices were low and everyone was told to stay in your jobs because it's safe and secure. But I said, fuck it. If we're allowed to swear, we allowed to swear.
Oh, absolutely. Free fall. Okay. Go for it.
Great. Great. So yeah, I said F it and just left my job with nothing planned. And from then onwards, I went on a 6 to 7 year journey of just unrelated career choices. I, worked for a renewable energy company, worked for a gaming company in Serbia, worked in tech and sales. And even before the job in engineering, I worked in, sales and other kind of unrelated jobs. So I guess things came to a head in 2022, ruptured my Achilles tendon. So I was forced to just sit down and reflect whilst being in a cast.
Wow.
And recovering. And through those times, I read about neurodivergence, and I thought, okay, my career path hasn't been the most linear. I have, racing thoughts all the time. I always have ideas which start and end in one night on a recurring basis. And so I thought to myself, okay, could I have ADHD? And ever since then, I've been on this journey of self-discovery, which led to a diagnosis in 2024 for combined type ADHD. Now, in 2023, I was asked to help someone out with an Instagram page on ADHD awareness, and we grew that page from 200,000 followers to 1.7 million within 2 years.
Lord.
And
Wow.
yeah, and so I learned a lot about social media, and I guess over time I stumbled upon my business, which is called NeuroJumpstart, where we help people with either social media, marketing. We also help neurodivergent entrepreneurs with virtual assistants. We're about to launch a new service where we're providing AI services, like AI automation services. With a full team of neurodivergent AI engineers and developers. So we've just become like this. I call it like a full service 360 agency for neurodivergent entrepreneurs and neurodivergent serving businesses. Sorry for a long intro.
No, that's perfect. I love everything. Everybody on my network is like, I've sent you some people and I've got more people to send you. And most
Brilliant.
of us are neurodivergent in one way or another.
Yes.
And it's amazing because it's amazing how much tech plays a role in how our brains are actually wired and how we get it. And then we
Yeah.
understand how it moves and how it breathes and how to scale because that's what our freaking brains do naturally.
Yeah. Exactly. I think that I feel like when you're neurodivergent, you have an understanding with others. It's like, the saying, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Um, there's over the past couple of years, the community has become so strong and awareness has reached an all-time high. One thing I forgot to mention is that I own a few Instagram pages, which are like ADHD awareness. There's memes across both ADHD and autism. I'm sure this will be in the show notes, but it's 4 Instagram pages with over 2 million followers. So I also found my tribe by just posting memes and funny material and educational content and reposting other people's viral content. So yeah, I've been in this space for a long time, and as a result, I've learned a lot more about myself, and it's great to be in a business in which I can do both that.
Right. It's like suddenly you get in your lane and every way that your cylinders fire work
Yeah,
in this lane, which is unending. Like it's a
yes,
freaking long runway that goes on forever. And once you, as a neurodivergent person, find your lane, just it's like the cap comes off of your skull and it's like
yeah, yeah,
fireworks. Okay, now I know what I'm doing. And then you find the
yeah,
others, right?
yeah, exactly. And I think I can't remember if we discussed this before, but I was just reflecting the other day on how through the work I do, I get to be myself.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people, unfortunately, in society, neurodivergent people do a lot of masking. So they pretend they copy the mannerisms of the neurotypical population to fit in and not have any kind of scrutiny or criticism. And there's a lucky few of us that don't have to conform to those norms. And I'm grateful for that. And in addition to that, being a Black neurodivergent person as well, there's that extra layer of masking that that we have to do in the workplace. So yeah, again, I'm just so happy to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, because the freedom that you have in doing that and to be able to look and see how you would have had to compartmentalize just for the neurodivergence alone, then the part that you're male, and then the part where you're black and a man. Like, how many layers of masking would you have had to live through in order to just
move about in the very constrained world that is the world
Yeah,
of neurotypical land, which they're not happy either.
exactly. Exactly. And then exactly, you're right. And that's something that, I mean, that's another, we're talking about wider issues here. I think 70% of people aren't happy with their jobs. and even neurotypicals, probably most to a certain extent. Everyone has to wear the same type of quote unquote business casual clothes,
Yes.
and talk the same way. So yeah, that's just a thought that I didn't really give much consideration to until now. That
Isn't it?
everyone's got their own cross to carry, as
Yes.
my dad used to say.
And here you get to do this in this way that feeds you and nourishes your soul and lets you be the intelligence that you actually operate as, not what you compressed in order to fit in. That's the part for me when I got diagnosed. It was I spent a year, imagine my career, all I do is speak for a living, speaking publicly, doing podcasts like a ninja, just nonstop data collection everywhere I could in mental health. And then I get diagnosed and I come out of that and I'm immediately thrown into, oh, you're operating at a deficit. There's something wrong with you. I literally thought for about the first 6 months, oh, I was masking how incompetent I am. I actually believed that because when you walk out after diagnosis, you're thrown into the world of this is bad, you're disabled, you're
Mhm.
which in some ways, yes, that is part of the spectrum, but there's also another lane that is, oh, I wasn't masking incompetence, I was masking how intelligent I actually am in order to conform. And once you cross that lexicon, I think the world just really opens up for you. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I do a lot of work with diagnostic centres, assessment centres, and one of the most common things when someone gets diagnosed is that there's sometimes a sense of grief, as to thinking, as you mentioned, like people thinking that they were stupid or masking their incompetence, and it takes a while to kind of be at peace with oneself when that happens. So the diagnosis it's not the end of the journey. It's not the happily ever after. Some people never reach that happily ever after, but for many people, that kicks off a journey of self discovery, and as a result, people can improve their lives. So yeah, I can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. The ability to then go, wait a minute, I reject that narrative
Hmm.
because I have been fighting for, I thought I hated myself. I absolutely believed that to be true. I lived in suicidal ideation forever. If childhood trauma told me all of that as well. But once I went, wait a minute. I have been trying to find out who the hell I am for 50 some years. No one has worked harder for me than me. To look
Yeah,
at it that way, it just is a complete flip around and go, oh, wow, I have had agency this whole time. I just didn't know what the hell my wiring was. And there was nothing
yeah,
wrong with me either. It's actually a sign of high intelligence and empathy.
yeah,
And then you start looking at for a while I was kind of embarrassed, like, am I going to be one of those people that hugs trees all the time? Like, what is happening to me? Like, am I going to be one of those new age positive all the time people that I used to make fun of? Like, is that where I'm going? And then that kind of settled, and now I'm kind of in the, okay, this is data. I got rid of all this shame that I carried around. I know how I'm wired. I know how I connect with people. These are all net positives. There is no net deficit here, you know?
exactly. There's definitely no deficit in knowing yourself. On my page, ADHD Today and Autism Feed, we tell stories of people that have gone through their own diagnostic journeys. And we recently produced a post about a person that was diagnosed at 80, at 80 years old.
Wow.
So yeah, everyone's on their, on their journey, on their individual journey. And one thing I want to mention as well is that, and we spoke about it before privately, is that there's been a lot of kickback over the superpower narrative.
Yes,
That
yes, I
having
get it.
ADHD is a superpower. People don't like that because obviously you don't have a cape on and you can't see through walls, and
Right.
you can't fly, right? And I understand the empowerment angle, but some people think that's too far. I personally think that everybody is on their own journey. So for somebody, for one person, it may be a superpower. It may be like Neo in the Matrix. Spoiler alert. I mean, the film came out in 1998. If you haven't seen it now,
Don't worry about spoilers
that's
anymore.
Yeah. So, Neo gets shot and he sees the ones and zeros. He gets up, he sees the ones and zeros. He sees everything. It all makes sense. That's how it is to some people. Whereas to others, it's like, it's like just another day.
Right.
And you're still confused and you're still stuck in the mud. And it's really, it's down to the individual. So I'm not one of those custodians of what language to use, how to view your neurodivergence, because for everybody it's different.
It's unique. It's for everybody's path. I mean, I was negative forever. Now I'm on the positive train. I like being over here, but I'm also very into the data around it and being respectful of, if we go too far into the, oh, it's all about high intelligence, oh, it's the upgrade, oh, it's that kind of language, then we are gaslighting people that are dealing with a 3-year-old that is highly verbal 1 minute and then doesn't speak and is crawling under a table having a panic attack the next. And when you're a parent and you're in the middle of that with your child, the last thing you want to hear is, your kid got the upgrade. That's not going to help someone manage that situation. So I'm very careful about that too. And I mean, when I started talking about this publicly, my own journey with it, and I recorded shows where I was collapsing during shows during that 2-year period, I just couldn't hold a coherent thought from beginning to end because I was rewiring myself, right? I leave those there. That was part of the journey. There's no need to be embarrassed about it. And I also thought, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of putting someone down because they're tied so closely to like the Asperger's diagnosis or whatever this other diagnosis they got. If that's how someone came to this space where they're focused on their mental health and their well-being, who am I to bash them over the head about the language that they're utilizing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree, Chris. And another thing that people get upset about is the, people that have like a TikTok diagnosis. They go on TikTok
Right.
and Instagram, they see content they can relate to, and then they identify with or say that they have ADHD. They self-diagnose. And while we always advise people to see a professional, healthcare professional, to get an official diagnosis, like I said, everybody is on their journey, and I think there's a bigger thing at play here. There's a bigger theme at play here. It's not that everybody has. I think there was a story that 70% of Gen Zers identify with ADHD or think they have ADHD. There's a bigger theme at play here. And that theme is a need for belonging.
Yes.
And the need for self-discovery. So there's a lot of, so it's a small microcosm of quite a large issue in society. And in the age of AI, people are just looking to find themselves and find their tribe. So again, I have no issue with the kind of unofficially diagnosed, the people that aren't officially diagnosed. And there's another subset of people that we never talk about, and it's those that will never be diagnosed.
Right.
They have the symptoms, they have the signs, but they can't afford a diagnosis. They can't afford a private diagnosis. They're on the waiting list for too long. there's cultural taboos as well in some communities, and I can definitely talk about that. And so so there's a subset of people that will never get the support that they deserve. And I guess the question is, and this is for people way above our pay grade, is that how do you accommodate for those type of people? Those are my thoughts. I could go on forever.
Forever. I know. I know one of our podcasters, Dr. Mary Jones, she has 2 kids and she's talked about it publicly, so I'm not revealing anything she hasn't already shared on her own podcast. But she talked about, here I am, a Black woman, and I have a white husband, and I have these 2 kids, and we're already dealing with what we're dealing with because of our skin color and being in this mixed marriage. And now we're going to now have my child be diagnosed officially with something that puts them in a land of net deficit. I already am afraid of so many things in the world. I don't want to also add this new handicap to our situation. And I remember listening to her and I thought, my God, me as my skin color, I have my own stuff being female, but that is a whole other layer around coming out, so to speak, that people don't really take a step back and look at what that must be like. You already operate in a way where you're not safe in the world as it is today, and now we're going to add this to that.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess another thing that we're still, another thing that we're exploring as well is AudHD, autism and ADHD people.
That would be me. Yes, I know.
Yeah, exactly. The dual diagnosis club, right? I think we've only been able to diagnose ADHD and autism since I think the DSM-5 in 2013.
Really?
It hasn't been that long,
right?
And we're still trying to figure out, the nuances of having both neurotypes. A lot of people talk about the ADHD tug-of-war, where your ADHD wants chaos, but your autistic side
wants regulation.
Wants order. Yeah, and they're both at ends with each other. There's just so much that there's so much to uncover.
Oh, there's so much to uncover. Running 2 operating systems at the same time. When you don't know, you just think that you're insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did.
Yeah.
I just literally thought, well, I am not made for anything that's going to actually function properly on the planet, because I just masked autism. I used ADHD for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I masked all the autism because that was the thing that made me too weird, right?
Mm.
Then the autism comes back online and I'm like, I'm a full-scale weirdo. Woohoo! Just okay, this is good. I can go down this path. But once we figure out how to regulate that, we figure out how to regulate our nervous system, it does actually lend itself to an advantage. I don't want to go too far in the, superpower language, but it can render itself to it being an evolutionary advantage in the age of AI because of that multi-threaded processor that you've got going on all the time. I wanted to know what you think about this. I think that autism and ADHD and things like that, I think that maybe 5 years, maybe it'll be 10 years from now, there will be a very different neurotype created for these different things like ADHD that will have a whole different language. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think that it'll take us some time to get there, but we can't look at these neurotypes in isolation. We just talked about ADHD, and I remember the famous quote from Dr. Ed Hallowell about ADHD having a Ferrari brain with bicycle brakes.
Right.
And whereas, and I was thinking about this the other day, I haven't really got a clear picture of it in my head yet, but AudHD is like having a Ferrari brain with a self-autonomous operating system with the brakes going from like 0 to 100, full speed.
Yeah, you scare people.
Snail's place. Yeah. Going in all sorts of directions.
That's why we feel like it's oxygen. Like the second that you and I got on a Zoom before today, what did it take 2 minutes before we were like,
Yeah. Yeah, instant. And I think that eventually I do see things coming together, us looking holistically. And it's not just the neurotypes either. It's anxiety, depression,
Trauma.
other trauma, that's a big one. Just all of these things being taken into account. We can no longer look at issues with a single lens. And then obviously you add the kind of socioeconomic factors. You add, whether people know different languages or not. For example, there's all of these factors that I hope one day is one day clinicians, teachers, workplace bosses have the ability to see as a whole. I know that there's certain things out there. For example, there's things called like spiky profiles, which some companies use, which kind of gives a strengths and weaknesses viewpoint on neurodivergent people and neurotypical. So there are people doing good work at the moment to try and have a more holistic view on the neurodivergent experience.
It's kind of interesting, abutting against the hierarchy, even in the autism world, because I know that when I went back to some of the people that I had on my show, even who are big in the autism world, I'm not going to out anyone. We'll just leave. I've interviewed a lot of people, so there's no way to find out who I'm talking about. But
I'll watch the episodes.
Exactly. So I go to some people and I go, hey, by the way, I just got diagnosed and I was flattened by a few people. I actually had someone that we fired on all cylinders doing shows, and then I told them about my diagnosis, and the response was, well, you're a woman and you don't have the intellectual, this was actually typed into an email, you don't have the intellectual capacity to understand how much you are not autistic. This was typed into words into an email.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, that is wow.
What was his name again?
I shall not out him, but I just thought, wow,
Right.
this is the gatekeeping that's going on in terms of the world of autism, that we need to have like what you're doing on scale to let people know, don't listen to that narrative. Don't do it. It doesn't, I hope that this person changes. I hope they stop doing that, but that's what we're up against is the gatekeeping, even within the world of neurodivergence. There's a whole lot of hierarchy, which we hate, right?
Yeah.
And a whole lot of gatekeeping, and you got to kind of keep plugging through it, and place what you do blows that narrative right out of the water.
Yeah. Thank you. And I think, on my page autism feed, we create all types of content, educational on
And
how to,
funny
for example,
as hell. I mean,
yeah. We've got some good memers on the team who produce good content. Half of our team is neurodivergent, so they understand. But yeah, we do different types of content. So kind of like serious content. So for example, we're preparing one on autism and water. Why do autistic kids like water, and what are the dangers? Because obviously there's a lot of autistic children sadly drown.
yes.
We do news. I've empowering news. Sometimes difficult news to report, but also we do fun empowerment stuff, and then we do memes where we kind of self-depreciate, and I think and this content that we create, we while we try and tick, while we try and get people to enjoy the content and relate, we can't. We've realised that we can't make everybody happy, because if we do a post about somebody who is non-speaking until they were 15 and then they started speaking and became a Harvard professor,
Yeah.
that's going to make some parent feel bad that their child has not gone at that same progress. Whereas the same as memes, we can do plenty of funny memes, but for some people that are really struggling, it's not funny to them.
Yeah.
So going back to your point of like gatekeepers and and toxicity within the space, it's sadly something that is happening. And while that's happening, a certain person in America is saying that Tylenol causes autism. It's like Game of Thrones. It's like you got your kind of your houses at war, and in the background is like this existential threat coming to wipe everyone out. So yeah.
And the sad part is the neurodivergent. We won't go there too much, but the sad part is the people that say that are also neurodivergent themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So what the hell are you saying?
Yeah.
Just, like let's put that also scared people to not get diagnosed. But what's so interesting about that is who is built for the time that we're in right now? Who is going to carry the ability to handle tech and where it's going? Why brains wired in these ways? So of course, suppression would be around brains wired this way.
Yeah, exactly. I think, but at the same time, I have an optimistic viewpoint. I feel that, again, in the age of AI, in the social media world right now, there's a lot of emphasis on authenticity and storytelling, to kind of be more genuine as a brand. And there are no people more genuine than neurodivergent people.
Yes.
Who can tell a story better than an ADHD person when they are stimulated. The greatest storytellers ever. Comes to washing the dishes, okay, it's a struggle. But when it comes to telling a story,
register your car is a problem, but I can tell you a story that'll light you up for 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, turn to Charles Dickens, Shakespeare.
Yes, exactly.
So I feel that and again, there are some people that really struggle, and the statistics say that 30% of, in the UK anyway, 70% of autistic people are unemployed. So there are struggles, but I feel like we're moving towards an era of authenticity.
Agreed.
So I'm very hopeful for our community.
Yeah, I mean, suicidal ideation in our community is high, high, high. And I lived in that for decades. I did not want to be here. I've stayed up late, which is a very neurodivergent thing with our melatonin issues, and that we come online about 9 o'clock until 11. I mean, that is part of the science that's out there. But I also didn't want to go to sleep because I didn't want to wake up and have to raw dog my way through life on yet another day. So to go from that with all my childhood trauma stuff on top of it to now, I can't wait to wake up in the morning and get going.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one. There are many of me's out there that have the ability to go from that to this other place, and what we can contribute to society is just, it's unparalleled. So of course there would be things out there. We'll tip everything on its axis with what we can do. So of course there's a lot of suppression of this kind of wiring, and the only thing we can do is do what you do what I do, try to just
push out as much information about this so that it reaches a saturation point and then it's baked in and it cannot be denied. And I think we're there. I think we're there where this cannot be denied anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And when something has become a fabric of society, and that's only when you hear hit pieces and criticisms in the media. That's when you know this thing is big enough to for people to take notice.
Yeah.
So I always remind people of that. And going back to what you said, yeah, absolutely. Media has always been a way for people to, understand themselves, to learn things. So I feel that podcasts and social media are still very important mediums for that. And you shouldn't underestimate how many people you've helped indirectly by doing your podcast for so long. That's not lost on me either.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, man, I was doing it like 3 people listening for 2 years. Why am I
Amazing.
doing this? No one was paying me to do it. No, and so I built a network so I could eat while I put full time into this. And then,
Amazing.
Prince Harry and Oprah come out and talk about mental health, and I actually was relieved. I went, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Now bigger names that have way more of an audience, Rosie O'Donnell, so all these
Yeah.
people that have big flat platforms are talking about this. Yes, that means it's baked in. So I don't have
Yeah.
to feel like I'm trying to, like I'm throwing a pebble into the ocean with what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. And speaking of Rosie O'Donnell, she follows Autism Feed, one of my channels. We get a lot of celebrities
I bet you do.
that follow, and even though the pages themselves, outside of my business, the pages are, I use my own money to run it. I pay for the staff to create the content, and so it's a non-profit venture. But
100%.
yeah, but when you see, Jennifer Lopez, like in your random meme about ADHD, she's the 14th followed person on
The
Instagram
planet.
out of the
Yeah.
whole on the planet. And it's moments like that where you feel, okay, like we're doing good work here, where our message is resonating from every corner of the earth.
Big
I had a
signal
client.
carriers are finding
Yes.
you and going, oh yeah, this resonates with me. And
Yeah.
really think about it. To be an artist, how could you not have neurodivergence as your, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, honestly, the work that it would take to act, to sing, to have to create. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is our wiring. Like we
Yeah.
can't not do that. We would do it for nobody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I am not surprised at all that actors and actresses and writers and singers and anybody in creative arts is like your page is like a
Yeah.
freaking beacon.
Exactly. It's huge, and through my following, I found there are several other professions where many people have ADHD: construction, sales, real estate. There's a lot of real estate followers on the ADHD pages. Like you said, the arts, finance, computing.
Technology.
Yes, so many. And again, that was going back to what I said at the beginning, how we're starting like an AI kind of AI automation agency with a team of autistic and ADHD developers. It's because there's so many through my work, through my posts, one post at a time. I found that, okay, there's a bunch of people here that are enthusiastic about tech. And so, yeah, so I did the research, and we're hopefully going to start something special. We're happy to help anyone at the moment. We're just trying to get a few case studies on board.
Yeah.
So anyone who's interested in AI, who wants to, who has a part of their business they want to improve, save time, save money, save, pain,
They know who to
they
call.
should let us know.
Well,
So
tell my listeners one more time where they can find you, because I mean there's not a business that wouldn't benefit from what you can do with social media and with this new piece with AI and automation. So where the heck, hell, whatever can they find you?
yeah, yeah, they can find me in quite a few places. So I have 4 Instagram pages. Um, ADHD today, ADHD underscore today, autism feed, which is that autism underscore feed. I think I need to check. Can't even remember. Yeah, autism underscore feed, ADHD elite, and neurodivergent minds. This will all be in the show notes. You can visit my website, www.neurojumpstart.com. And yeah, just send a message. Email me at jason@neurojumpstart.com. And yeah, I'll get back to anybody that gets in touch. Happy to help, happy to have a conversation, happy to jump on podcasts. This is my first one as a guest, so
Really? Oh, I'm
yeah,
so excited. That makes me feel good. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. It takes a while. Like I've always kind of been, in the shadows type thing, but for
Time to
you,
come out of the shallows, my friend. You got
yeah,
things to say.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, everyone's got a story to tell, and yeah, this is mine. I hope it resonates with somebody.
It will. Oh my gosh. Well, we're going to stay on and talk for a little bit after, so don't go yet. But I want to say thank
Yeah,
you for coming on the show. I hope this isn't the last time. I hope this is one of many.
yeah,
And I'm so glad that I don't know how the heck I even contacted you. I don't even know how that came to be. I'm just glad that it
yeah.
did.
Yeah. You know what? I think I got in touch with you, and this ties back to
Oh, that's
one
right.
of
You
the
did. Yeah.
yeah, and this ties back to one of the strongest qualities that I feel that we have, especially people with ADHD, is curiosity. And I feel that I feel that curiosity is probably one of the strongest qualities a person can have right now. I'm very pro curiosity. I'm not a fan of people. Look, you have to plan things now and then. You can't just wing it through life. But sometimes you'll be surprised what can happen when you follow your curiosity. I used to work on an oil rig 10 years ago. Now I run Instagram pages
Which
and
is
do
so
social media.
ADHD of you to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
How did I go
yeah.
from building databases for Ross Perot's tech company to doing a podcast network about mental health? Like, what
Yeah,
kind of a leap in crazy town was
exactly.
that?
Just follow the white rabbit.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Oh, well, thank you again so much. Stay on. And listeners, I just want to tell you thank you so much for joining us. Please contact this man. He will help you in innumerable ways. And again, Jason, mwah, thank you.
Thank you so much.